it?
Well, that's all a conspiracy, you see, Kyle, because I saw it on Facebook, and there are a lot of people who are actually dead who are still walking around.
Is there?
Yes. I researched it on the internet. They're like zombies, and because they've got these chips in them, Bill Gates is controlling them with a PlayStation 4 controller. Seriously. Just have the vaccine.
Before we dive into the full story, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Let's rewind back to 2020, when Britain was still locked in endless debates over Brexit. Years later, the arguments continued. The promises were still being questioned, and many people were still relying on information they saw online without looking deeper. And this conversation perfectly shows what happens when political beliefs collide with facts.
I heard Nick on the phone, and he took Sharma, really did, to the cleaners. And I followed Brexit. I'm quite a strong Tory at the moment.
Sure.
And I wasn't aware that Australia deal and no deal were the same.
Right, let me pause you there. And we're not going to fall out, right? But the second thing you said completely destroys the validity of the first thing you said. You said, I follow Brexit. You obviously, I nearly swore then, you obviously don't. If you didn't realise that Australia-style deal meant no deal. When you say you follow Brexit, you still follow the people who persuaded you it was a good idea.
Well, yes, I do. I've listened to the other side as well.
Well, you can't have done, because it's been, I mean, it's like the Pope being a Catholic, Australia being the same as no deal.
Yeah, obviously you're a lot cleverer than me.
It's nothing to do with being clever.
But do you agree there must be a lot of people who think like me?
I don't know. There must be, because it must work. So, I mean, listen, blame is a big word. Whose fault is it that you failed to understand something that I consider to be really, really straightforward, obvious and simple?
Well, I accept that obviously it's the government's fault and the people put it forward. Maybe I didn't listen hard enough to it, but I'm sure there's a lot of people like me.
Well, I applaud your honesty. I'm sure there are. Yeah. And now you know it means exactly the same as no flipping deal at all. How are you feeling about the whole plan and the people in charge?
Well, the whole thing is just going difficult at the moment. But I've always wanted to get out of the European market because I want to be a sovereign state. Oh, but I do agree.
What do you think that means? Let's not do this. What do you think sovereign means?
Well, I think we can make our own laws.
But how do you do that if you're in a trade negotiation? If you're going to agree to some of the stuff you don't want in order to get it over the line with some of the stuff that you do want, what happens to sovereignty in that context?
No, but once we get out, we can make our own laws and do exactly what we want.
Of course we can't. Not when it comes to trading with foreign countries. We can't do exactly what we want at all. We have to abide by the trading treaties that we have in place with them, and signing that treaty involves what you would have to acknowledge. Forgive me, seriously forgive me. If you understood what sovereignty means, you'd realise that there's no such thing in the context that you've just described.
Well,
that's the next penny drop moment. You finally realise that no deal means the same as Australia deal, and you're about to realise that sovereignty means signing up to things that are less than what you would get if you were 100% in charge of what you can get.
Yeah, but James, obviously a lot of people did agree with me because 17 point so million people voted for Brexit.
They voted for people like Owen Paterson, who said only a madman would leave the market. People like Daniel Hannan, who said nobody's talking about leaving the single market. People like Michael Gove, who said no deal is not what we campaigned for. It's never been on the cards at all. People like Nigel Farage, who said why can't we be like Norway? How now, Brown Cow, after 4 years, can you still be coming out with this stuff, my friend? Everything has been proved wrong. They're even patronising you today. Today they've said, it's an Australia-style deal, and you've gone, oh, yeah, that sounds good. And then they've gone, it's semantics. They've pulled down your pants, and you're still defending them.
Yeah, no, I didn't sound that sounds good. I was not aware. Okay, you're going to have a go at me. And
I'm not going to have a go at you. No, fair play to you for coming and taking your medicine. But I don't understand how you can not be. How often do you listen to me? Do you just think I've lied or that I'm thick or I've got it wrong for 4 years?
Actually, James, I hardly listen to you at all.
Oh, there you go. There's the problem. And that's why you've ended up not knowing what's going on under your own nose, Peter. You silly sausage. If you'd listened to me, you wouldn't be on national radio now saying, oh, my God, I've just been conned by the people I actually voted for.
I didn't actually say that at all. But, I accept various things that you say. But, the fact is, a lot of people voted for Brexit. It's as simple as that by a referendum.
Mate. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens in the next few months, won't we?
Well, it's 6 weeks. Laurie Parks in Kent, Portaloos, all down the side of the M20. People like you, decent, honest people like you, still thinking that Australia-style deal means something. What does it take?
Well, no, it means a no deal. Basically, they're saying Australian deal because it sounds a lot softer than a no deal. That's what Sharma said.
And that's why they're patronising you, Pete.
And why making me feel like I have to take this vaccination when I'm going to survive regardless.
Yes, because you might pass it on to people who don't.
But if they've had the vaccination, then James, then surely they'll be fine.
Well, how do they know? Unless everybody has it.
But what's the problem if they've had it?
There's no problem, mate. You're just not allowed in the pub. That's all.
But why not? I don't understand why I'm being ostracised for not wanting something that's only been tested for 3 months, 4 months.
But you're not. You're just not being allowed into places where you might give coronavirus to people.
I mean, ostracised. But if they've had the vaccine, then why am I not allowed in?
Well, because they've had the vaccine and you haven't.
Yeah, but if they're vaccinated, then they don't have to worry then, do they, James?
No, but you're not allowed into the pub because you haven't had the vaccine. Because if they let you in, Kyle, they'll have to let everybody else who hasn't had the vaccine in as well, and you'll all infect each other.
Yeah, but I'm perfectly.
Okay, let me put it this way: it's to protect people who aren't clever enough to protect themselves. So you'd be in the pub without the vaccine, and under your rules, there'd be some. If you stop talking, I'll explain your misunderstanding, Kyle, and with great. Gratitude, actually, for the opportunity to explain this to people like you. If you're allowed into the pub without a vaccine, then so is him, and so is he, and so is he, and so is her, and so is she, and you could all infect each other, you see?
Yeah.
And then you'd all need treatment, and some of you would be intubated, and some of you would go into intensive care, and some of you would die. So it's to protect people who aren't clever enough to understand how they can protect themselves.
That's 0.5% of us.
Where are you getting that number from, Kyle?
Not because of 99.5% survival rate.
Yes, but where are you getting that number from?
Where are you getting the death rate from, James?
I haven't mentioned the death rate.
No, but I'm getting the same.
Where from, Kyle?
You're getting from. I'm getting it from when I'm doing my research online.
Yes, but where, mate? Because you can't say I'm getting it from the internet, can you? You can buy moon cheese on the internet. Where exactly are you getting this 99.5% survival rate?
Because it's a fact that it's a 99.5%
doesn't become a fact when you keep saying it. Just refer me to the source.
Where's your what is it that this virus is 90% successful?
I haven't said that. I haven't used any numbers yet on the Kyle, I haven't said a number yet on the programme today. So let's just concentrate on where you're getting your facts from.
From the research that I'm doing, James.
Yes, research where? Into what?
I can't take the phone away from my ear, but to go on to the articles that I've read.
Well, just name. No, you must have gone, oh, crikey, that looks good. That's come from Harvard. Or, blimey, that's from the Office of National Statistics. Or that's from the World Health Organisation.
I'll say it's from the World Health. I can't pinpoint where I've got my...
And that is why, Kyle, we need to protect you from yourself, you see, which is what a vaccine would do. So you can stay at home if you want, doing your research, but if you want to move into a public space where you might infect other people, I'm afraid you'll be prevented from doing so. Do you understand why now?
But I can go out and mix with the public and do what I want. And be fine with the 99.5% survival rate.
But you keep saying this number. You keep saying, what if I said now it's got a 100% death rate? And you said, where are you getting that number from? And I said, my research. I'm getting it from my research. No, only the people that have had it. Well, that's all a conspiracy, you see, Kyle, because I saw it on Facebook, and there are a lot of people who are actually dead who are still walking around.
Is there?
Yes. I researched it on the internet. They're like zombies, and because they've got these chips in them, Bill Gates is controlling them with a PlayStation 4 controller. Seriously. Just have the vaccine.
Looking back at these two callers, there are two very different but connected lessons here. The first caller actually deserves some credit. He came onto the radio willing to admit that he might not have understood everything as clearly as he thought. That kind of honesty is rare in political debates, especially when people feel strongly attached to a position they supported. But it also highlights a bigger problem, the repeated idea that Brexit meant Britain could suddenly make completely independent decisions without any compromises. The reality of international agreements, trade deals, and negotiations is far more complicated than the slogans that were used during the campaign. Then we have the second caller, and this is where the conversation takes a familiar turn. It's a pattern we often see in political debates. Someone makes a confident claim, but when they're asked for evidence or sources, the argument quickly starts falling apart. Having an opinion is perfectly fine. But when that opinion is challenged, facts and reliable information have to come into the conversation. Otherwise, it becomes impossible to separate genuine arguments from things people have simply heard online. And perhaps the most revealing moment was when James O'Brien used sarcasm to challenge the caller's claims, and the caller genuinely believed he was being serious. That moment showed just how difficult it can be to have a meaningful debate when people are relying on information they haven't fully checked. But that's the bigger issue here. In politics, confidence is not the same thing as being correct.